Chapter 2. The Dead Planets. Let us talk of planets. Since this book is about planets, here are 4 of them, all very different, but their fates, sadly, exactly the same. Tamesis Beta had been the target of a long and arduous space mission. The capsule from Tamesis Alpha had been primitive, little more than an optimistic tin bath that had somehow left its home world, crossed a formidable distance, and settled into a brief orbit with its neighbouring planet. The crew had carried out careful observations of the world spinning beneath them. They were unable to land, but it was early days yet. As their craft lacked portholes, a series of remote cameras and radar scopes supplied them with a complicated data picture. One day, their people would come back, and they would land here. But for now, they were using the last of their fuel to return home to a hero's welcome. Their most remarkable find had been the detection of radio emissions from the surface of Beta. Unintelligible, basic, but their eyebrows had risen when they realized that some of the messages were pointed in their direction. The crew were returning home with the news that there was intelligent life elsewhere in the universe, and that it was friendly. After a long, exhausting, but triumphant flight, the craft reached orbit around Tamesis Alpha. Only something was wrong. Its crew were roused from dreams of long, hot showers, followed by book deals and chat show appearances, by the self-important ping-ping-ping of the craft's computer. The readings on the consoles were astonishing, unbelievable, so utterly confounding that the captain of the ship immediately launched one of the remote cameras. It confirmed the terrible truth to the dumbfounded, suddenly doomed inhabitants of the craft. Tamesis Alpha was no longer there. Nothing happened on Calufrax, but then it never did. It rained a little, but only really for appearances. From an evolutionary point of view, Calufrax was waiting for a bus. If a planet could be said to be slumming it while hoping for a better offer to come along, then that was Calufrax. Clouds drifted through the sky like thumbs being twiddled. Glaciers crept along with must-we huffs. Such life as Calufrax had evolved mostly just clung listlessly to rocks. It definitely would get around to growing vertebra, just not today. Actually, especially not today. It has often been said that nothing good ever came out of a committee, but there is always an exception to this rule. On Sakunthala, they had worked out the meaning of life by committee. Surprisingly, a politician suggested it. One day, on the spur of the moment, to avoid answering a difficult question, he just came out with it. "I'm pleased you asked me that. It's a good question, a really good question," he began, conventionally enough. "But I'll tell you what's an even better question." And even then, that was what people expected politicians to say. But that was when the wheels came off. "An even better question is, what is the meaning of existence? What are we all here for, other than to fill in the gaps before we die? You know, we can sit around calling each other names, watching as things get progressively worse and blaming other people, or could we just, find out what's it all for? And then we could work backwards from that and find out if we really need to build all those roads and houses and whatnot." Oddly enough, the idea caught on. Someone immediately suggested building a computer, but sensing he was on a roll, the politician pooh-poohed it. "We'll just end up with a tendering process, a procurement contract, scope creep, and then blaming each other when the wretched thing is late, doesn't work, and has to be scrapped. Let's just talk this one through." And that's what the people of Sakunthala did. They kept the hospitals and the schools running, but apart from that, pretty much everyone sat down to form the Committee of What? This was partly to avoid getting sidetracked by naming the thing, and partly because that was, after all, what they were trying to find out. Countries broke off into various subcommittees to really think about such topics as, why do we have children? And does death matter? And white